Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Today we're going to be looking at light meters. So I have the in-camera meter for the Leica MP, my Minolta meter, as well as the cell phone meter. Let's see how they compare. So for today's video we're going to be shooting Lomography 400 and I'm going to rate it at 400 as well. Alright, we're ready to go. So the way I think I'll do it is I'll take the first picture with the reading from the MP, the second is going to be from the cell phone, and then the third will be the incidental meter from the Minolta. Alright, so I found my first scene. The camera, the MP is reading f5.6 at 5/100th of a second. Now we'll check the phone. See, let's take a reading. So at 5/100th of a second it says f5.6 as well, so that's good. We won't take another shot then, and then let's try the incidental meter. So there you go, 5.6. so I guess for this round all the meters are actually metering the same, so we won't take two more shots on that one. Alright, so I'm at the next scene. The MP is metering at f8, 5/100th of a second. Let's see what the cell phone says. By the way, the app I'm using for light metering in the phone is called Light Meter, but without the vowels. I think you have to pay for it, but there's other free ones online as well that you can use. So the light meter is also saying f8 at 640th of a second, so that's pretty close. We're not going to take a second shot for the phone. And let's see what the incidental meter says. Alright, 500 f8. Alright, so we don't have to take a third shot. Looks like so far all three of the meters are agreeing. So for this next shot I'm going to take a picture of this bench. We'll see if that'll trick any of the meters. So the MP is looking at 8 2/3 of a stop. So we'll take a shot with that. We'll check the cell phone reading. So the cell phone's saying 1/1000th of a second at f8, so we'll try that. And then the incidental meter, let's see. Alright, 500th at f8 as well. So I'm metering some of the flowers down here. The Leica is going to be f5.6 at 500th of a second. Let's see what the phone says. 5.6 at 1,000th of a second. And then lastly, the light meter. So it's saying f8 at a 5. Yeah, so that would be about the same as the cell phone. So the cell phone and the incidental are the same. And the Leica, I think, was one stop more. For this next scene, I'm gonna shoot something a little bit brighter. It's got sky, pavement, and some almost white tan colored walls. So I'm guessing the camera's gonna say f11 at 500th of a second. Let's see. Yeah, so the camera says f11 at 500th of a second, so we'll take one shot. And let's see what the phone says. So at 500th of a second, phone is saying f16, so I'll take a shot at f16. Let's use the incidental light meter. So one of the drawbacks with the incidental light meter is you have to kind of be there. So the incidental light meter is saying 1000th f/5.6, so that'd actually be f8 at 500th of a second. So we'll shoot one at f8 and 500th of a second. All right, on to the next one. So for that last shot, I have a strong feeling that this light meter is actually going to be the best. The reason being that it's quite a brightly lit scene, and it's got a lot of lighter colored objects in it. So what happens that is actually the camera meter is trying to make everything gray, so it's gonna, you know, meter a little bit lower. Same with the cell phone, it doesn't know what it's looking at, so it's gonna try to make everything gray, whereas this one is actually just measuring the light source. So regardless of what that light is bouncing off of, it should be accurate in terms of the exposure. So we're gonna do one more test with this white truck, see how the MP and the cell phone compare to the incidental meter. So the MP is reading, if I meter right on the truck, which is white, it's about f11 at 500th of a second. So we'll take this photo first. And then the cell phone, f11 as well. So well, that's the same. And then the light is more or less the same here. So if I took a reading, the incidental is saying f8. So I'll take a shot at f8. So again, it's kind of showing what I was saying about how when something's a brightly lit object or a white or lightly colored object, the internal meters from the cell phone and your camera are gonna make it a little bit darker, whereas the incidental meter has a bigger aperture, so it's gonna be letting more light in, and it's not gonna try to make that white into a gray color. Hey everyone, as you can see, I'm in the metro now. So what I want to test is just the low light capability of these 3 meters. So let's find a scene here. All right, I think that's not bad. Average train station scene. So I'm guessing 2.8, we're probably going to be at maybe a 30th of a second. Let's see. Yeah, so at 2.8 and a 30th of a second, that's what the MP is giving me. Of course, it's a little bit darker in the shadows, so let's take one shot. So at 2.8, the meter is showing 1/20th of a second for the phone. So with the incidental meter, it's a little trickier because right now I'm underneath this light. So we'll just take a couple and see what it says. So under the light, if I'm taking a meter reading from here, it says f/20th of a second and f2.8, and if I'm in the shadows over here, a 1/4 of a second. So I think I'm gonna meter for generally over, yeah, that seems about average. So it says a 1/4 of a second at f2.8. Yeah. Okay. Do one more. So we'll see how that turns out. I have a feeling that the incidental light meter might be a little bit overexposed. I find that that particular light meter struggles a little bit in low light. So that's something to keep in mind. So now that you've seen the photos, make sure you drop a comment. Tell me which light meter you thought was the best, maybe which light meter you use or prefer. I'll talk about all three, just kind of my thoughts. The first one being the internal light meter. This one is actually really useful as a spot meter, but you have to understand how it works and how the little brain in the camera is thinking. So you can kind of look around at the scene and meter the highlights and the shadows and different areas. And as long as you understand that it's trying to, you know, meter for 18% gray, you can use it to get a good photo. That being said, if you don't fully understand and you're, you know, shooting scenes with snow in it, or you're shooting a really dark scene, or something with very dark objects, you might not get the best results. But it can be really powerful, and it's nice because it's built into the camera. You don't have to carry anything. Next, the phone is also really nice because you're probably going to have it on you at all times. It doesn't hurt to download the app. There's a whole bunch of free ones out there. I think mine was a paid one, but it wasn't expensive. So this is useful, especially in kind of low light situations. I find in a pinch, it's just something nice to have when you were out and about, you know, with a different camera that doesn't have a meter, but you're not shooting too seriously. And then finally, for when I am shooting seriously and, you know, it's a paid job or it's something really important that can't be screwed up, I like to bring this meter. It's, for me, given the best results overall. I've never really had a problem with it. And again, you can use this in different situations, measure the shadows, measure the highlights. And this is really the best tool for it, but again, it costs a little bit of money. It's one more thing to carry, which, you know, I usually don't like to carry extra stuff. So that's all three of the meters. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you drop a comment down below what you thought, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.